Hi, I'm a wizard wearing Snuggle Moments PH, and you're watching the Dropping Dimes podcast by J.I. Dimes.
For today's episode, we continue with our team preview series featuring Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz. We also have our quick dimer thoughts as we will talk about Gordon Hayward, who is unfortunately injured once again. And we still have our top 5 plays of the night. The Dropping Dimes podcast starts right about now. Yes, sir. Welcome back, Dimers. And again, for those who are new to the podcast and new to the channel, please, and if you haven't done it yet, click on the subscribe button and on the notification bell. Click always or choose always so that you can follow all the episodes of the Dropping Dimes podcast by J.I. Dimes. If you love the podcast and if you love the videos, please click on the like button, comment your thoughts, and share the video. So let's now proceed. Okay, so as mentioned, we will be talking about the Utah Jazz as we continue our team preview series. For those who want to follow the podcast, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and Anchor. Okay, so to start off the episode, we will start off with our quick timer thoughts. This is how we dine. And for today, we will be talking about... Yes, sir, we will be talking about Gordon Hayward, Mr. 130 million himself. So we all know Gordon Hayward had that devastating injury during his very first game for the Boston Celtics some 3 years ago. You know, that really has changed the trajectory of his career. It's been a struggle for Hayward ever since. But surprisingly, the Charlotte Hornets signed him to a $130 million contract, to the surprise of everyone, of course. But we can blame Gordon Hayward. You know, he was supposed to accept that deal for sure. But then here we go again. Even before the season hasn't even started, and Gordon Hayward is once again injured. So even though it is it's considered to be a minor injury, it's a hand injury, but still, you know, it seems like Gordon Hayward is just not getting any breaks right now. So again, I'm hoping and praying Gordon Hayward will have a healthy season ahead of him, and he can prove to people that he's still the Gordon Hayward that we know, right? But at the end of the day, 130 million is 130 million. Get well soon, Gordon Hayward. Okay, so let's now go to the main storylines of the Utah Jazz. You can follow them on Instagram at Utah Jazz. So of course you have the defensive monster himself, Rudy Gobert, and then superstar young player Donovan Mitchell. He balled during the bubble. And then they have, of course, veteran point guard, one of my favorite point guards of all time. That's Teddy, Mike Conley. And then, of course, the favorite of all Filipinos, the Phil-American himself, Jordan Clarkson, one of the best reserve guards in the NBA. And look who's back, Derek Favors. He's back with the Jazz. Welcome back, Derek Favors. And then they drafted Elijah Hughes from Syracuse. He was their second round pick. And they got Udoka Azubuike from Kansas. So those are the main storylines for the Utah Jazz. Now let's proceed to what the Utah Jazz did last season. They had a fantastic regular season. They were 6th in the Western Conference. They had a 44-28 record. They lost in Game 7 to the Denver Nuggets by 2 points. What a first-round series battle between Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell. Quinn Snyder has done a fantastic job with his team. Their GM is still Dennis Lindsey. Their offense is decent. It's really good, as we will see later, their team stats. But their real calling card is their defense. They were 9th in opposition points per game. And then their offensive rating was actually 10th, and defensive rating was 13th. Their expected win-loss was 42-30, but they exceeded that and finished the season with a 44-28 record. So this is now the schedule for the Jazz. They've played 2 games so far. They've beaten the Phoenix Suns 119-105 and 111-92. They have one more preseason game, and that is against the LA Clippers, and they will be playing that at the Staples Center. And then they will kick off their regular season against Dame Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. Yes, the day before Christmas. So now these are the key additions for the Utah Jazz. Again, they added Derek Favors. They drafted the center from Kansas, Udoka Azubuike, and they drafted forward Elijah Hughes from Syracuse. And then these are their key returning players. They still have superstar young player Donovan Mitchell, defensive monster Rudy Gobert, veteran point guard Mike Conley. Then arguably one of the best off the bench players in the league, Jordan Clarkson. They still have Joe Ingles, the Aussie. And then Boji Bogdanovic, who, if you do not know, actually averaged 20 points per game last season. And then they still have their 2 key role players in Royce O'Neal and George Niang. Okay, so let's now proceed to their team stats. Okay, so let's start off with this one. Okay, so let's look at their offense. Again, the Utah Jazz, look at their offense. 6th in field goal percentage, 1st in 3-point percentage, 5th in 2-point percentage. And then they were 18th in points. So that was solid. But they're, again, as mentioned, their real defensive, or their real specialty is on the defensive end. They were 9th in points allowed per game. And then look at this. When it comes to 3-point attempts and 3-point made, they were 3rd in the league. When it comes to the total rebounds, so the opponents are having a hard time rebounding against them, they were 5th. And how about in terms of their assists? Teams are very much having a hard time garnering assists against the Jazz. Now, looking at their advanced stats, their pace is not that high. They were only 98.6, 24th in the league. But that is actually a byproduct of the fact that Quinn Snyder's teams are really using the shot clock because they really move the ball a lot. But that still didn't matter. The lack of pace still didn't matter. It didn't affect their offensive rating. They were still 10th in the league, and their defensive rating was 13th in the league. Now let's go to their player stats. By the way, thanks again to basketballreference.com for all the updated stats. Basketballreference.com is the way to go. So look at Rudy Gobert. What a season. 15 points per game, 13.5 boards, 2 blocks. A legit monster inside. And then superstar Donovan Mitchell. 24 points per ball game, 4.4 rebounds, and 4.3 assists. I still cannot believe that once upon a time, some 3 years ago, he thought that he would not get drafted. Boji Bogdanovic averaged 20. People might not know that, but he shot 90% from the line, 44.7% from the field, and 41.4% from three. Joe Ingles, 10 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 40% from three. Super solid. Mike Conley, even though he's not the Mike Conley of old, but still very serviceable numbers here. 14.4 points and 4.4 assists. And then, of course, you have Jordan Clarkson, one of the best players coming off the bench in the league right now, averaging 15.6 points, 3 boards, and the shooting percentages are also solid at 46% from the field and 36.6% from deep. Okay. So now it's time to go to my thoughts and predictions for the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz are well coached. They have 2 outstanding young players in Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. They have a complete team here, perfect combination of veteran leaders and also young, they call them young vets, and guys like Clarkson and Bogdanovic, right? And then they have Joe Ingles. So it's really just a complete team. They're well coached, solid offensively, but even better defensively. I'm seeing the Jazz making it. Their worst case scenario is to land exactly where they landed last year, which is around the 6th seed. That's their worst case scenario. Best case scenario is they can actually surprise people and make it to the 4th seed or 5th seed because of the possible emergence of Donovan Mitchell. And let's hope that whatever issues they had, he and Rudy Gobert, they were able to fix that already. X factor for them, of course, would be the play of veteran point guard Mike Conley. Okay. Now it's time to go to our top plays of the night. Let us start at number 5. Yes, sir. Ike Okoro showing us the range. That's the way to do it, young fella. Continue doing that. Because you're part of my fantasy team. Very nice from Ike Okoro. At number 4. Let's proceed to number 4 now. Oh, look at this. Devin Booker pushing the basketball and then bang, dishing it to DeAndre Ayton. Nice way to run the floor, big fella. Booker to Ayton with a finish over AD. At number 3, we now have the point god himself, CP3, with a behind the back to DeAndre Ayton. Nifty pass by CP3. And then at number 2, yes, sir, it's the unicorn himself, 2021 projected top 3 pick, Jalen Green. Yes, the Filipino-American balling in their scrimmage game last night. Jalen Green, look at these highlights. Oh, look at that. Kid can really sky. And then, of course, at number 1, here we go. Jalen with a hockey assist. And who's the recipient? None other than Filipino sensation. The first Filipino player who will make it to the NBA, Kai Sotto, with a finish. He only finished with 5 points and 5 boards, but it doesn't matter. Just keep on grinding, Kai. It will come. It will happen. Just keep on believing, young fella. Kai Sotto with a flush. So those are the top plays of the night. Now let's proceed. Yeah, there you go. Now let's proceed to our shout-outs. Okay, so again, thank you. First and foremost, happy birthday to Pope Francis. May he continue praying for all of us, especially during this time of the pandemic. And then happy birthday also to one of the greatest players that I've ever seen. None other than former King Eagle himself, who is now playing in Japan professionally, 30, Ravenna. Just like what I mentioned in my quick timer thoughts in one of my posts in Facebook, that the best attribute of 30 is actually his ability to bounce back from different types of adversity. So keep soaring, 30. Take care of yourself and keep balling. Bright future ahead for that young man. And then also, thank you to my former co-teachers. They might think I may have forgotten about them already. Thank you, Sir Jig Solis and Mom Honey May Retrita. They were my former co-teachers, but even though they're no longer my co-teachers, they're still supporting me. I could remember when I was still writing for Sir Charles in Charge. They were already very supportive, and then up to now, they're still very supportive. So thank you to them. Okay, and then on Instagram, yes, I would like to also congratulate. Yes, sir. Because they already have like 1,100 followers. Yes, and then they just like started Sports Daily News. Yes, sir. Congratulations, guys. One of the most these guys are very humble, and they just keep on grinding. Congratulations, guys. Happy for you that you now have 1,100 followers on Instagram. Thank you also to Pinnacle Supply. And also special mention as well to Jimmy Bucket Squadra and Angel Redito for always supporting. They were already supporting the podcast even when the videos were like one slide and that was it. That's how supportive they've been. Okay, and then you might be thinking I'm already saying it right now. I'm not an endorser of Linya Linya, but it's just that I love their clothes so much, and I appreciate the advocacy that they have. So more power to them. Also, of course, means more because the people running it are actually my former classmates. Okay, so to end, before we end the episode again, if you haven't done it yet, please click on the subscribe button and hit on the notification bell so that you can follow all the episodes of the Dropping Dimes podcast. If you like the episode, click on the first like button, comment your thoughts, and share the video. And we'll see you again on the next episode of the Dropping Dimes podcast. This is J.I. Dimes saying Donovan Mitchell is a baller. 8 days before Christmas. Keep safe, everyone.